Following is a Sketch Media production.
Made a lot of money.
Yeah.
Shut up.
And it wasn't personal, and I think that's the big lesson. It's like, not everything is clap-a-dap-a-doo.
Thank you for joining us. We're going to talk about some pretty big topics
Yeah,
coming up. Yeah, and this one,
a lot going on.
lot going on. This one really shook our world. We're going to jump right into it. Brats. You guys thought I was going somewhere else, didn't you?
Brats. I like the use of the fist. Hopefully people picked up on that.
Hopefully they did.
We're going to talk about Brats.
Hopefully people picked up on a lot of stuff. But we're just going to jump right into this. We watched this documentary.
Yeah,
When?
a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, it's I don't know if anybody out there's seen it, but it's a documentary on the Brat Pack because we're kind of we're Xers, baby.
We're
so
Xers.
like this really appealed to us, and anybody that hasn't seen it, it's pretty good. It's not bad. It's
pretty good.
It's all right. It's
Well, let's talk about what it is.
there you go. You give them the lowdown.
Yeah, so Andrew McCarthy, who hopefully people know from, well, pretty much everything he's done, but, Pretty in Pink, St. Elmo's Fire,
Weekend at Bernie's.
Weekend at Bernie's, one of the best movies ever.
Best movies ever. Love it.
So he wrote
It's Bernie.
He wrote a book, his autobiography, a few years ago it came out. I can't remember what year exactly. I should have written this down in my notes, but I did not.
We didn't.
But he wrote his autobiography, and it was entitled Brats, and this is the next project leading out of that autobiography. So,
Yep.
yeah, so he wanted to make a documentary where he talked to the other members of the Brat Pack.
Yeah, and I mean, let's be clear why they're doing this documentary, because Andrew McCarthy kind of feels he got shafted by this reporter calling them the Brat Pack.
Yeah, so the name the Brat Pack,
It's derived from the Rat Pack.
it's a play off the Rat Pack, yeah. So it stemmed from the magazine article, the Vanity Fair magazine article sorry, not Vanity Fair, New York magazine article in 1985. And it was written by David Blum, and
I was 11.
Yeah, we were 11.
I remember that. I remember it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I remember it too.
Clear.
And I think, and we'll get into this, I think what those of us who were growing up at that time and watching them in movies and hearing about the Brat Pack and the Brat Pack and the Brat Pack, I personally thought that they were so cool. Like, I thought they were the coolest people around. They were. But they hated it, and I just thought it was the coolest name.
I agree.
And they hated it. And so the whole documentary, is Andrew McCarthy getting back in touch with his former colleagues and talking to him about this, and he didn't like it at all.
No, he didn't like it at all. He took it as a shot he took it personally. And frankly, when you watch some of these, there's look, to me, anybody that gives off that vibe of, push the extremes or, kind of like against the grain a little bit, they're kind of going to have a little bit of a brattish, cocky kind of feel to them. And that's what this whole group oozed. These guys oozed that younger group. Like, this was when Hollywood changed and started doing its focus away from older classic, which we consider classic type movies, to focusing on younger audience. So this was the first time we saw our own peers in that light. And how do young 20-somethings handle anything? Yeah. Everybody handles it bananas, right?
Well, I think that was a lesson in all of this. It's like they were portrayed as entitled, spoiled, lazy, didn't want to work, like just wanted to party. It's
and they
like
really did.
Every younger generation gets portrayed this way.
And who doesn't party in their 20s?
Right.
And not to mention you're in Hollywood. like
Yeah.
in the 80s.
Yeah.
I mean, partying was just, it was another level of just,
What was going on?
there was a lot of skiing going on, and I'm not talking about up at Mammoth or, is it Mammoth? No. Yeah, it's Mammoth or Big Bear.
Not that kind of snow.
Not that kind of snow, but look, there was parties, and like you're telling me these kids aren't gonna like. I mean, shit, that's epic stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I would have embraced it, but Andrew definitely does not. Like he almost considers it part of, which is funny because Weekend at Bernie's was a great franchise.
Yeah.
Great franchise. He was in some killer movies. I don't know how you look at it and say that like anything held you back.
Well,
You know, I think it was maybe the more serious, because he was a pretty serious actor.
He's a great actor.
Great actor.
He's a great actor.
Nobody evokes I got shit on by a girl better than Andrew McCarthy.
The emotion on the guy's face, like he's.
I love you.
I love you.
Yeah, he's
Always.
I like in the documentary when they were talking.
Here, I could just say yeah. Sorry.
Those aren't the words.
I know. It's the tone. Who gives a shit? It's the tone.
I like when they were talking about that scene and he was saying, yeah. And then I said, I love you. And then, whatever the line was, I was like, oh, please, always. You know what the line was.
Dude. You got that big mop wig on your head.
The wig story was great.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff that you didn't know in them. Like that's, I mean, and if you're an extra out there and you're a fan of these movies, the behind the scenes, in my opinion, was the best part.
Oh, totally.
It talks about like at the end, how they had to change the ending and a bunch of different stuff. But like, it's pretty cool how they shot certain stuff. Like that really got to me. It's like, I had no idea that this was an alternate ending that they went with.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I thought it was always
No, I didn't know that
running to
either.
the car and kissing her and saying, I love you.
And I'm
always.
Yeah, and I'm obviously we both are aficionados of 80s movies, and
I'd say I'm a pro.
Yeah, you are definitely a pro. But we all love those movies, so
Love 'em.
I didn't, and I consider myself well researched on everything from that time period, and I didn't know a lot of stuff, so I think it was.
We didn't know a lot of it at all. I didn't it's very unique. Like I had no idea that Andrew McCarthy seemed like kind of the kind of the hippie out of the group. He didn't portray that because he was always portrayed as like this like
because he played the good guy.
He always played the good guy, but he was kind of like not.
He was not. He got thrown out of college.
Smoked dope. Smoking weed with Andrew. I want to smoke weed with Andrew McCarthy. Andrew, call your old boy up, Pete here.
Next time you're in Atlanta.
Come on the podcast.
Yeah.
I want to hear really why it was so bad, because the way I look at it, pal.
It wasn't just Andrew who took it poorly.
No.
Like and that comes out in this documentary. It's like Judd Nelson wouldn't even do the documentary. Molly Ringwald wouldn't even do the documentary.
But the king did. Jon Cryer came right the fuck out and was like, I'll be on that shit. He's like, I wasn't in that shit anyway. You guys didn't even invite me into the Brat Pack. And I'm the most successful out of all you.
So that's a good set. Let's talk about that.
He gave him one of those.
In your opinion, who was in the Brat Pack? Because that is a big debate. That's up for debate. Because depending on who you talk to, it's different.
McCarthy.
Yes.
Estevez.
Yes.
Estevez is now are we going for like a Mount Rushmore over for like how many members? Because you could.
No,
I
just want to.
Who I think's in it?
I'm not even going to give you the number. Who do you think's in it? Name the names.
Estevez by far is number one. McCarthy.
Well, he was
Moore.
Yes.
Judd Nelson.
Yes.
Weirdly, I do not feel Anthony Michael Hall, and because I think he was always portrayed as a nerd and wasn't allowed in the Brat Pack. Which is weird. I think because Brat Pack is a mental thing to me. It's like the elites of like high school. In that when you thought high school was scary and creepy, it wasn't. Like everybody's fucking Andrew McCarthy in high school. Andrew McCarthy. Everybody's fucking Anthony Michael Hall in high school.
Totally.
Everybody.
There are no.
There are no.
There are no cool people.
There are no Stephs. There are no Blaines.
Spader.
There are no
Spader was not in the Brat Pack.
Spader was not. Yes, Spader was not in the. Which is weird. Now that also throws my thing off. Now, right?
So the Brat Pack.
Ringwald
was in the Brat Pack.
That's about it for me. And maybe what's her name? Maybe Ali Sheedy.
Ali Sheedy was in the Brat Pack, in my opinion.
That's the Brat Pack for me. So Cryer, no. Anthony Michael Hall, no. Charlie Sheen, no. He was in those circles.
You're missing a big one, in my opinion.
Oh, Judd Nelson.
We already said that. Wait, did we? If we didn't, Judd Nelson, yes, for
That's
sure.
what I
But you're
said.
missing another big one, in my opinion.
What? Hold on a second. I said Estevez. Oh, Rob Lowe. That's what you did, a saxophone? And also, why a saxophone?
Because
Why?
he played a saxophone in St. Elmo's Fire.
I know that, but why in St. Elmo's Fire they pick a saxophone?
Oh, that's the question you're asking.
That's my question.
It's a great question.
It's a fucking wonderful question.
There's a lot.
Why would you give him a fucking saxophone? Like, I'm not ripping on the saxophonist, but like, you can't give him a guitar and do a little bit of, like.
Dude, the 80s was full of good sax.
And a lot of clap. A lot of clap with a good sax. You get a lot of claps with a good sax in the 80s.
So yeah, so you forgot Rob Lowe, but Rob Lowe definitely.
He was in there too.
So
which is weird because he's only in St. Elmo's Fire, then he kind of disappears and starts doing a bunch of like. He kind of disappears. What is it? Is it a St. Elmo's Fire thing then?
It's a St. Elmo's Fire thing.
Because that's when the article came out.
Plus, for some reason, a Molly Ringwald thing. Molly Ringwald was not in St. Elmo's Fire.
So it's St. Elmo's Fire and a Pretty in Pink thing, weirdly.
Yeah, but Jon Cryer, they interviewed him for the doc, but he doesn't get the credit of being in it. And Jon Cryer he made Pretty in Pink.
There's got to be a reason why. There's something that those specific...
Depending on who you talk to, people will say Tom Cruise was in the Brat Pack.
No
people will say
way.
Robert Downey Jr. was
No.
in the Brat Pack.
No.
Anthony Michael Hall gets thrown around a lot.
No. I mean,
Jon
he'd be
Cryer,
the
of
closest in my
course.
opinion.
I agree.
In my opinion, Hall is probably the one that has the most claim to it.
Yeah.
Right? Whatever. Claim. I think claim is to it. He can claim it. Yeah,
Well, because he was in Breakfast Club and
he was a Breakfast
with
Club.
Ali Sheedy,
and then he
Emilio
went to Weird
Estevez,
Science.
Judd Nelson, Molly Ringwald. So like it's a St. Elmo's Fire, Pretty in Pink, and kind of Breakfast Club
It's
minus
those three. Because you can't say Weird Science is, I think, the first appearance of Downey Jr.
Might be.
Before that, I think it's Less Than Zero. He came in after that. So
I'll look it up. Hang on.
Yeah. It's those people.
The New York Magazine article came out in 1985.
85.
St. Elmo's Fire was 1985.
Pretty in Pink was by 86, 87.
Okay, hang
Because before that, he's just playing. I think he's just.
on. I'm gonna look this up.
Weird Science is, I think, his first appearance as a I know he was probably in commercials.
Like big appearance.
Big appearance.
Okay, wait, let's go back. 80s.
Less Than Zero was later. They're older.
Weird Science was 85. No, Girls Just Want to Have Fun was before Weird Science.
He was in that girl.
He was in Girls Just Want to Have Fun. Yeah.
With who? Who was in that?
Sarah Jessica Parker.
God, that's when they dated.
Helen Hunt.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Jesus.
so then,
Town.
after Weird Science, he did some TV work. Then Back to School.
Totally forgot Back to School.
Back to School.
Shakespeare for everyone.
So what I was saying before is so the New York Magazine article came out in 1985.
Tame your shrew.
In the documentary, they talk about the scene with Emilio Estevez and Andrew McCarthy when he goes to visit Emilio, who looks like he has just a very cool house, as does Demi Moore, which we'll get into that in a
They
minute.
just kind of seem like they're like,
Yeah, exactly.
I'm good, Andrew. I don't know about you.
Emilio seemed really kind of normal and well-adjusted considering his family.
Who seemed to not give a shit.
Yeah.
He just seemed to be like, I don't know, Andrew, let this shit go, bro. Like he did. Well, then Andrew McCarthy, I think, also has like a 6-year-old right now, and he's probably like, Jesus Christmas.
Well, and I think, we said this, like the
Like
documentary.
they all seem like, man, I'm past this shit. He's the only one that seems like I'm trying to dredge this up for something.
Well, yeah, it seemed. We said that. We said this when we were watching it. It seemed like it was therapy for Andrew McCarthy.
It was cathartic.
Like it seemed
was
like we
totally
were watching
cathartic for
his
that guy.
therapy session.
Everybody else was like, dude, I don't give a shit. Like, fuck, it was 40 years ago. Like, I don't remember anything. Like,
I think
35 years, whatever.
what was interesting was Andrew McCarthy wasn't at the interview that led to the New York Magazine article. So that was Emilio Estevez, Judd Nelson, and Rob Lowe, I think, went and had lunch with the New York Magazine.
Oh, I thought it was just Estevez.
No, I think because Nelson, there's a quote from Judd Nelson about meeting Blum and what he thought about him. So
What do you say about Blum?
So During a 2015 episode of the Bret Easton Ellis podcast, Nelson said his gut feeling upon first meeting Blum, who was invited out to dinner with Estevez and his pals, including Nelson, was to knock him, quote, unconscious. This guy...
Anger issues?
This guy, just something about him, he had a stink to him, Nelson told Ellis. And I think that in retrospect, I would have been better served following my gut feeling and knocking him unconscious. I at least would have felt better about the thing. So I think, yeah, clearly Judd's got some issues.
That's an understatement.
Dude, you're talking to a fucking reporter, dude. Like, what did you think? Like, I'm sorry, that's stupid, period. Like,
I
love how they kept playing that, like, they thought they were friends. We thought we were cool. And it was like, dude, I never gave you that fucking impression. That's the first thing Blum says is, I never let them think I was their friend. Like, I was getting a story.
Yeah, he
and it
did
was a
say
story
that.
I don't even give a shit. It wasn't even that big of a fucking deal. It wasn't like they blew it out of proportion way more.
Yeah, like I think that's the moral of this whole documentary, or kind of like where it all winds up is he's like, I was doing my job. I'm not, and Andrew McCarthy kept pushing him to be like, do you think it could have been nicer? And he's like, I'm not apologizing. And like,
No,
mad
fuck
respect.
you, dude.
Like,
Fuck you, Weekend at Bernie's. Like, fuck you, bro. I'm sorry. Like, I love this. Like, this is like, it's like Pearl Jam all over again.
yeah.
It's like Crybaby motherfucking shit.
Well, and I think
Talk about those two.
so. This brings us to a great segue for that. Not Pearl Jam, but Crybabies is how when he goes to see Demi Moore, who was hands down, I think, the most well-adjusted and coolest out of all. I mean, Jon Cryer
cool
was very
chick,
cool
man.
too, but she's a cool chick.
They seem like, bro, get the fuck open. Move
She
on.
seems cool as shit.
She tried to be nice spiritually to him, but it was basically she was saying, move the fuck on in.
She flat out said, "Why did we take this as a bad thing? Why did we take this as like we did this to ourselves?" And I thought that was profound and very, very true. It's like it is all about how you react to situations. Someone writes an article calling you a brat. I'm just gonna roll with it.
Roll with it, man.
Exactly.
Well,
we thought they were so cool. I thought the Brat Pack was the coolest name. It was so cool. I never looked at it as a bad thing. That was Demi Moore's whole thing is if we had just twisted it in our heads that this was a good thing, if we had just taken that perspective on it, we could have been much happier.
I'm big on take what the defense is giving you.
Yeah.
Right? Like if they're portraying you in this way or they're working with you in this way, play to it. Like they were given an unbelievable, and to me, Moore sees it that way, and these people see it as we're given an unbelievable opportunity, man. One article that we got to a part of something in history. I don't like when people try to play that as bad because it wasn't.
It wasn't.
It was very, very unique, and it should have been played up as, man, what a cool thing, rather than you defined us. And look, I'll give Andrew McCarthy this. He does meet with the guy in it. They do sit down and talk. He's like, man, I like hearing it from your perspective. He gave that, but...
So I think the other thing that was at play with the Brat Pack is I think the name caught on, and it was because it was less about Andrew McCarthy, Emilio Estevez, Ali Sheedy, and it was more about the characters themselves.
It was portraying a genre of movies.
Well, it was specifically, the article came out in 1985. It was specifically portraying St. Elmo's Fire. And those characters are awful. They're
awful.
just...
You ever watched that movie?
They're awful people.
Awful
so it's
people. They're shits. All about me, funk this part, all about me.
I found this article, or I found this this trivia fact, and it said it said a major studio executive said that the 7 main characters of St. Elmo's Fire were, quote, the most loathsome group of humans he'd ever seen on page. So I think it was more about those characters, and then the article came out, and they got typecast as those St. Elmo's. In our minds.
Let's talk about half the cast of Pretty in Pink.
Yeah.
They bashed this poor girl for having a mom that ran away, a father that's pretty much a succubus.
Yeah.
And this poor girl, they're making fun of her for not having as much money. That's a real nice right? Like, so they're just portraying, even those people are like, man, I'm a really nice dude. We know that the shit goes on even nowadays. I read an article, what was it, like The Mountain or something from Game of Thrones? People still walk up to him going, I can't believe you did that. He's like, I'm a fucking actor.
Joffrey, the kid who played Joffrey, got that. I remember. And same, you also heard that from the kid, the actor who played Draco Malfoy.
He's like, I'm a fucking actor, dude.
I know.
And that's just it. Like, I think they took it way too.
I think they took it.
You made a lot of money, dude. Shut up.
Personally.
You made a lot of money.
When it was less, it wasn't personal.
You made a lot of money.
Yeah.
Shut up.
And it wasn't personal. And I think that's the big lesson is like, not everything is personal.
Now you're trying to make more money. Shut up. So it's just like, and that's why I think some of those people are like, dude, I don't need this shit. I've written this off. I'm doing great in my life. I look back at this like, wow, that was great shit, man. Like, I don't know, but like.
I mean, that was Molly Ringwald's
move on.
Response was, she
Move
said,
on.
I just want to move forward. I don't want to look back.
All right, and then we're going to do that with this right now. So we've beaten that up. You blew a little bit out of proportion, and Brat's not a big deal. Just take a look at what people call each other out there on the internet now.
The documentary's good.
Documentary's great. Watch it. Little bit like this. A lot of wah. But other than that, some of the people are really cool to be like, I just don't give a shit. And it's pretty cool. And some still want to punch that guy in the face. So check it out. But moving on, let's talk about my other favorite topic.
Pearl Jam?
And I'd like to start it with this. Justice for Andrew. It's the new season. It's time we start getting that out there again. Justice for Andrew Wood. He deserves some type of credit on Pearl Jam 10, in my opinion, and Temple of the Dog. I think all that shit was stolen. We know it. Look back at episode 7 if you want to get the whole story. But here's the updates on is Pearl Jam cursed? Some bad shit's happening lately with those poor guys.
Are they cursed?
I don't know. I think it's Andrew saying, I want my shit. He's up there. He is. He's like, I want my fucking credit.
So explain why you say they're cursed.
Recently, they had to, members, I guess, they had to cancel a couple concerts because one of the members, they didn't say really which one, said that he had a life-threatening event or illness, right? Like, yeah. I saw that, and I'm not wishing anything bad on anybody. They didn't really say which member that was. I also read an article recently that Stone Gossard saying, Dark Matter was not our best work.
Yeah.
It really wasn't our best stuff.
I think some people in our YouTube comments would argue with him about that.
Would argue. Yeah, some would definitely say I'm a grifter in a sack, which is fine. But,
and that Dark Matter was amazing.
And that Dark Matter was an opus. Their opus. I disagree, but
Stone Gossard disagrees too.
Stone Gossard, I think, is just kind of like, yeah. I think he's just kind of at that point. Also, Josh, I don't want to butcher his last name. Kleinden Chef, the new guy, the guitarist that they got from the Red Hot Chili Peppers when John Frusciante decided, hey, I'm going to come back in the fucking band. Whenever he gets bored, he just kind of reappears again. So they have to, whoever's been with the band for X amount of years, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, they cast away and they bring Frusciante back in whenever the fuck he feels like it.
They send him to a nice farm.
They send
to live
him
with
to
a family.
A Red Hot Chili Peppers guitarist farm. What happened to Josh Kleinden's saucer, whatever his name is? Like, we sent him to the Red Hot Chili Peppers farm. He's living with other
free range.
Other Chili Pepper guitarists.
Free range.
Free range Chili Pepper farm. I always thought that was bizarre. They just keep and that guy was with them for a long time. Very like 10 years while Frusciante was finding himself in like Tibet. I don't know, but he was. But anyway, Frusciante's back, and somehow Pearl Jam picked up another guitarist. And in my opinion, guys, the first sign of bands starting to, they start adding members for no reason. Like, I think a few years ago, they added an organ player. They said this guy's like the best. He's in the band or whatever. The guy that plays their organ stuff. Why Pearl Jam has an organ, I don't know. Now they have Josh Klein. Well, I don't know. Please can you get a pronunciation for me, babe? I don't know his name.
Josh Klinghoffer.
But this guy, they added him, then he plays guitar, which I don't know why you need another guitar, and like percussion shit. I don't fucking know. I don't know. But like, that's my opinion. When shit starts to go sideways, add members. It's like all the sitcoms back in the day, the early sitcoms, when the ratings would start to drop, what would they do, babe? Add a kid.
Oh, yeah.
First thing they did.
Add a kid.
right? What was it from Silver Spoons? They added like what was the one? The little
the Brady Bunch was the
Brady
first.
Bunch. Oliver,
Yep.
cousin Oliver came to live. Why did cousin Oliver come to live with the Brady Bunch? No one knows. Were his parents meth addicts? Maybe. Was he taken and removed from the home? No one knows. But all of a sudden, little Oliver comes to live with the Brady Bunch. That's bands. They start to take on. It's like add a kid in a member. It's like, hey, look, all of a sudden. We'd ripped this shit. We were awesome as the Foo Fighters. Now we need another guitarist, and we need this dude that plays keys. And it's like, beware of that stuff. But Pearl Jam's taking full effect in that. But the new member, Josh, and I don't know.
Josh Klinghoffer.
Klinghoffer. I don't know if he's an official member of the band. I don't think
he's not. I mean, not according to Wikipedia. He's not listed as an official member.
Do they have the organist as listed as?
No.
Because they were for a long time saying, dude, he's been with us forever. He's like a member of the band. But anyway, they brought dude's on stage playing with you. He's in the band. Sorry, I'm not saying he's a writing member, but the dude's performing in the band. But
no, the only members that
are the five.
Are the five?
Are the four?
No,
do they give Cameron?
Yeah, they give Cameron.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, he has all the secrets. They have to bring him in. He has all the secrets. They have to make him. He'll be like, I'll fucking tell everybody. Anyway, Josh Klinghoffer recently, and please make sure I'm correct on this, got in an car accident or something where he rode. I read this, and I don't want to make sure I'm wrong here, but I read that he was something where he ran into a bunch of pedestrians or something.
Red Hot Chili Pepper guitarist. This article was from, this was July 10th.
Yeah, it was just happened.
Red Hot Chili Pepper guitarist Josh Klinghoffer. God, now I'm saying it wrong.
It's not just me.
Sorry, it's fucking. I'm reading this off of TMZ.
And by the way, Josh, you're a great guitarist, and I don't wish anything bad for you at all. It's just I think maybe the band is in a bad place.
Okay, former Red Hot Chili Peppers guitarist Josh Klinghoffer is being sued for wrongful death for allegedly being behind the wheel of a car that ran over and killed a pedestrian. Ooh. The suit says that the pedestrian, 47-year-old Israel Sanchez, was dragged across the asphalt as a result of the collision and sustained blunt force trauma to his head. The suit says Josh was driving the car and didn't so much as tap his brakes. He's also accused of being distracted behind the wheel. I mean, who isn't distracted these days?
Well, he was wondering if Fushanti was out again and he can come run back and get his gig. That's what
Josh Klinghoffer ultimately
he's like playing timbales on the.
When was this accident? Okay, wait. Hang on. When was this?
Up shit, man.
When was this accident? I can't tell when this accident was. There's no date on here. Oh, back in March. This was in March.
It's pretty raw.
He did this in March. Or this accident was in March.
He was out playing timbales with the Pearl Jam, though, so I guess he didn't get over dragging some guy across the concrete.
He ultimately left the Red Hot Chili Peppers and has been a touring member for Pearl Jam and Jane's Addiction. He's said to be on tour with Pearl Jam right now. He's said to be? It's a weird way of saying it. Is he on tour with Pearl Jam or isn't he on tour with Pearl Jam?
Just saying. Is Pearl Jam cursed? Or did they go to the crossroads and they're coming for him? I'm just saying.
It's a good movie.
Watch The Crossroads. Great movie. Machio. But hey, we're not going to pound on Pearl
Was that
Jam.
Machio's best work?
Oh, no. Machio's best work is Karate Kid. It's got to be. I mean, that guy's, come on. But it's incredible. It's really good to see another side of the Mach. And the Mach, that guy's...
We like a well-rounded Mach.
He found the fountain of youth. That dude's like 65 years old.
Oh, he looks great.
Looks like he's 22.
He looks amazing.
I just started an eye cream regimen. I'm hoping it gets me there. I swear to God. I don't want to pound on Pearl Jam, but something's not right. Justice for Andrew. And maybe you should start acknowledging people that actually formed the band. Ouch. Thank you very much. That's it for our grunge update of the... maybe the season. I don't know if we'll talk about it again. It depends. Maybe Pearl Jam, who the hell knows what they're going to do. Maybe they're going to line with U2 and just be complete douchebags.
As long as Pearl Jam doesn't put an album on our phone that we can't get rid of.
That was my favorite. Oh, that's the next one. That's going to be the next one. So they make sure it sells out.
Well, first they got to do the residency at the Sphere, and then they'll put the album on the iPhone, on the new iPhone.
The Sphere. Watch the band's this big. Who gives? I don't care.
It's not about the band. It's not about the band.
I know. Could you just play the album with the visuals?
It's not. That's all you need.
I could
It's
drop
not about
some
the
acid
band.
and be like, yeah, this is the shit. Like nobody. You can't do the band. Everybody's like, no one gives a shit. No one cares.
Have you seen you saw the video?
Australian Pink Floyd. Remember that band? The guys that did the laser light show. That's what it is. It's Australian Pink Floyd, just with everybody.
Did you see the video of the that was going around of like the sphere, and it was someone mocked it up, and it was like when I'm in charge of audio visual for the sphere, and it was like this like giant guy comes down on the thing, and he's like, I know you're all on drugs. The police are outside.
Yeah, it's great. You could really fuck with people in that thing. All right, everybody. Well, thanks again for coming to another episode. Please, as always, like, subscribe, hit the bells. It really does help us. And most of all, comment. Tell us we're shitheads. Tell us you like it.
Tell us your favorite Brat Pack movie.
Tell us your favorite Brat Pack movie, whatever it might be. Take care of each other.
We'll rank ours. We'll rank ours.
Much love. Take care of each other. God bless America. Take care.